Wh40k Fluff for the uninitiated.
Episode 7. Orks. Orks are the most warlike race known to the Imperium of man. They are big, they are strong, and they love nothing more than a good fight. Besides orks, the orkoid species include Gretchen, Snotlings, and Squigs, where Snotlings are mostly pets or squig herders, Gretchen are slaves to the orks, and Squigs, short for squiggly beasts, are primarily food. The orkoid physiology is part animal, part fungus. For this reason, they are not reliant on complex internal organs, immune systems, or reproductive organs, adding to the inhuman resilience of orks who can shrug off wounds even space marines would have no hope of surviving. Also, due to their green skin and blood, which have a high chlorophyll content, Imperial majors biologists have come to believe that the orkoid races are capable of limited photosynthesis, allowing them to focus their supply lines to fuel, ammo, weapons, and all the other tools of warfare instead of sustenance. Combined with their beastly strength, love for battle, and fungal ability to reproduce artificially from spores left behind even decades after an ork horde was considered defeated, the orks were the greatest threat to mankind prior to the rise of chaos and the Tyranids. A notable exception to the fusion of animal and fungal components is the orkoid brain, which is similar to that of a human and lacks any fungal matter. Orks are, however, able to survive far more serious brain damage than any human and have thicker skulls for protection. To further emphasize just how hard it is to kill an ork, their medics, called pain boys, can, in a pinch, behead an ork and successfully transplant his head onto a different body or affix metal components, either for effect or decoration, with iron bolts directly to the ork's body without any ill effects. Because orks are an asexual species that reproduces via spores like fungi, they have no genders but identify as male, made most clear in their use of the word boys. The average orks are boys, the medics are pain boys, the psychers are weird boys, engineers are mech boys, and storm boys use jump packs to get into a fight. Other titles include grot, as a derogatory term for orks seeming to be showing a lack of enthusiasm or ability, nobs, which are the ruling class of ork society who use better equipment and act as squad leaders, and warboss, the biggest, strongest, and most cunning ork of a war. Which brings us to the single most defining aspect of the ork race, the war. First, war is the universal war cry of greenskins in battle. Beyond that though, it refers to three related phenomena. A war is a massive group of orks united under the banner of a warboss, an ork with a physical and mental ability to gather several warbands and keep them from killing each other long enough for a crusade against something the warboss wants to see destroyed. This event is also called a war. A war will usually only gain more momentum with each passing moment, because other warbands will start hearing of the event and join the fun. A war is usually ended only by the death of the warboss, utter defeat, or when there are no more enemies to fight and the warboss can no longer keep his boys from killing each other. Besides these, war is also a psychic field generated by orks subconsciously. A war alters reality to fit orkish belief, which is how single-minded brutes who receive no education except the innate knowledge gained from their fungal code can build and use firearms, aircrafts, spacecrafts, and augmentative bionics. As long as the orks are convinced that the pile of old parts, sheet metal and shiny bits they cobbled together is a sound and functional design for a truck, the war makes it work. Needless to say, a lot of orkish technology simply doesn't work when other races try to use it. As a side effect of this, because the orks believe that the red ones go faster, painting something red really does make it go faster. The warfield also gives orks an instinctual knowledge of which ork is bigger and thus in charge. Orks continue to grow throughout their lives, their success in combat and resulting respect from their peers boosting their size and muscle growth. Once a boy has grown big enough, he will be considered a nob, and if he continues to excel in combat, he may one day grow to become a warboss himself, where his by now impressive physical prowess, experience, and the enormous amount of orkish respect will continue to grow him even further. The currently most successful and notorious warboss, GHAZGHKULL mech URUK THRAKA, is approximately twice as tall as a space marine and wears the biggest suit of mega armor ever built, with a power claw that would snap a space marine Terminator in half. Orks believe in two gods, GORK and MORK, where GORK is the god of cunning brutality and MORK the god of brutal cunning. Since orks have trouble remembering this though, they often fight over which is which. The currency used in Orc society is teeth, which degrade over time, so it is hard to hoard them, which takes care of inflation and keeps prices in Orc society relatively constant. Orcs belong to tribes which are constantly changing, and also clans which are relatively stable, because they do not represent specific communities, but philosophical delineations and in part genetics, such as the Bad Moon clans, who grow their teeth back faster than others, and are therefore the richest clan. Most distrusted of all the clans are the Blood Axes, because their tendency to use camouflage and sometimes even battle plans is considered un-Orky. Orcish speech in fluff material has a very distinct style, and uses words such as stompy, choppy, shooty, or indeed Deka, as shown in these examples.
We's gonna stomp the universe flat and kill anything that fights back. We're the Orcs and was made to fight and win. Right, first I'll take those teeth out here. That should help ease the pain in your leg. Crockett, hand me that wrench. Now then, open wide and say, "Ah!" The only good human is a dead human. And the only thing better than a dead human is a dying human who tells you where to find his mates. Yumis are pink and soft, not tough and green like the boys. They's all the same size too, so there's always arguing about who's in charge. 'Cause no way of telling except for badges and uniforms and things. When one of them wants to lord it over the others, he says, "I'm very special, so you gotta worship me." Or, "I know something you lot don't know, so you better listen good." The funny thing is, half of them believe him and the other half don't, so he has to hit them all anyway, or run for it. What a lot of mucking about if you asks me. And while they's all arguing with each other over who's the boss, the Orcs can clobber the lot. Needs more Deka.